rati keli siddhai Nikunja jona rati keli siddhai Jajali vijjukti rapekshaniya Nikunja jona rati keli siddhai Jajali vijjukti rapekshaniya Tatrati dakshadati ballavasham Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Pranayakadhanaghanam Bhaktacchakalanagunanabhasha Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Vande Gurasi Charanarabindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Welcome everyone to the Sunday morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class presented by the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association, and we want to thank everyone who is staying steady in the process of Krishna consciousness. Time is moving along without any hesitation, as we all know. And the proper use of time is to hear and chant about the glories of the Lord from the bona fide spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, His Divine Grace, who is in the line of disciplic succession and the bona fide representative of Bhakti, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Śrīla Prabhupāda. And today, I'm going to refer to the perfect questions and perfect answers, conversations with Śrīla Prabhupāda and Bob Cohen, who became eventually initiated by Śrīla Prabhupāda as Brahma Tirtha, I believe. And very interesting look at preaching, how to preach to people without changing the philosophy, which is called in the modern times bridge preaching, where you modify the philosophy in order to try to attract somebody to the process of Krishna consciousness. Not necessary. And so here this morning we're reading about a bona fide guru. Prabhupada is going to be asked by Bob Cohen so many different questions, and we'll hear his answers in this very interesting dialogue. Śrīla Prabhupada, you have to go through God's representative. Yasha Prasad Bhagavat Prasada. If you please God's representative, then automatically God becomes pleased, and thus you can directly see him. Bob Cohen. How can we please God's representative? Śrīla Prabhupada. You have to carry out his orders, that's all. God's representative is the guru. He asks you to do this, to do that. If you do that, that is pleasing. Yashat prasadan gati katopi. If you please the spiritual master, if you displease the spiritual master, then you are nowhere. Therefore, we worship the Guru. Sakshad dari twaina samasta sastris yutaks tata bhavate eva sadhi. The Guru should be accepted as God. That is the injunction of all Shastra. Bob, the Guru should be accepted as a representative of God? Śrīla Prabhupada. Yes. The Guru is God's representative. The Guru is the external manifestation of Krishna. Bob, but different from the incarnations of Krishna that come? Prabhupada says, yes. In that, Bob Cohen says, in that way is the external manifestation of the Guru different from the external manifestation of, let's say, Krishna or Chaitanya when they come to earth. Śrīla Prabhupada. The Guru is the representative of Krishna. So there are symptoms of who is Guru. The general symptoms are described in the Vedas. Tadvigyanartam sagurun eva bigachet samit panir shrotiyam brahmanishtam. A guru must come in disciplic succession, and he must have heard thoroughly about the Vedas from his spiritual master. So it's qualifying the spiritual master. Generally, a guru's symptom is that he is a perfect devotee. That's all. And he serves Krishna by preaching his message. Bob, Lord Chaitanya, he was a different type of guru than you are. Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada responds, no. Gurus cannot be of different types. All gurus are of one type. Bob. But he was he also an incarnation at the same time? Śrīla Prabhupada. Yes, he is Krishna himself, but he is representing the Guru. Bob, I see. Prabhupada. Yes, Bob, and then Śrīla Prabhupāda, because Krishna was God, he demanded sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. But people misunderstood him. Therefore, Krishna again came as a guru and taught people how to surrender to Krishna as Lord Chaitanya. Shyamasundar, doesn't Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita, I am the spiritual master? Śrīla Prabhupāda, yes. He is the original spiritual master. He was accepted as spiritual master by Arjuna. So what is the difficulty? Sishyasteham sadimam tvam prapanam. Arjuna told the Lord, I am your disciple. And a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So unless Krishna is a spiritual master, the supreme spiritual master, how does Arjuna become his disciple? Krishna is the original guru. Tene Brahma Hriday A Adhikavaye. It is he only who first imparted Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahma, the first created being. Therefore, he is the original guru. Bob, Krishna, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Yes, he is the original guru. Then his disciple Brahma is a guru. Then his disciple Nārada is a guru. Then his disciple Vyāsa is a guru. In this way, there is Guru Parampara. And just a quick comment, just see how exalted these personalities are. A disciplic succession of gurus. Evam parampara praptam, the transcendental knowledge is received through the disciplic succession. Bob, so a guru receives his knowledge through the disciplic succession, not directly from Krishna. Do you receive some knowledge directly from Krishna? Śrīla Prabhupāda, yes, Krishna's direct instruction is there, Bhagavad Gita. Bob, I see, Śrīla Prabhupāda, but you have to learn it through the disciplic succession. Otherwise, you will understand it. Bob, but presently, you do not receive information directly from Krishna. It comes through disciplic succession from the books. Here's the key. There is no difference. Prabhupada says, suppose I say that this is a pencil. If you say to him, this is a pencil, and he says to another man, this is a principle, then what is the difference between his instruction and my instructions? Bob, Krishna's mercy allows you to know this now. Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada, you can take Krishna's mercy also provided it is delivered as it is. So he's qualifying the statement. Just as we are teaching Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajam ekam sharanam braja. Just give up all forms of religion and simply surrender unto me. Now we are saying that you should give up everything and surrender to Krishna. Therefore, There is no difference between Krishna's instruction and our instruction. There is no deviation. So if you receive knowledge in the perfect way, that is as good as receiving instructions directly from Krishna. And here is the concluding word that we must meditate and follow. But we do not change anything. And this is the situation that has happened by the ISKCON deep state in 2024. It has been changed. Everything has been changed. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda and the Sankirtan movement. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then the class with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu in California. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Pramād Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai, Nāma-Acārya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Girivardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, one, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, two, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, three, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then four, to Śrīla Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1, 2, 4. Welcome, everyone, to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It should be noted right from the start that this particular reading is based on the original 1962 Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and all the synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. As we do every week, we will read a few selected verses from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself, from Canto 1, Chapter 2, which explain the meaning and the transcendental benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Yadanya dinyasina yuktaha karma bhranti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat kataratim. Intelligent persons do cut off the internet of the knot of reactionary work by remembrance of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not give attention to his message, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-15. Shushrushoho shraddadhanasya Vasudeva kataruchihi Syan mahat sevaya vipra punyatirtha nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Bhagavatam 1-16. Śrīmad svakataha Krishnaha punyasravana kirtanaha hridyantasto hyabhadrani vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu babadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye chetaye teranaviddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in the mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man, affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord, can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshaya kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishwari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. Let us proceed with the verse that we are reading today. We are reading from chapter 1, canto 1, chapter 5, text number 39. Imam svanikamam brahmam avetya madanushtitam adatme jnanameshwaryam swasmin bhavam chakeshabaha. Imam, thus. Svanigamam, confidential knowledge of the Vedas in respect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahman, of the Brahmin Vyāsadeva. Avetya, knowing it well. Mat, by me. Anustitam, executed. Adat, bestowed upon me. Me, Jnanam, knowledge transcendental. Aishwaryam, opulence. Tasmin, personal. Bhavam, intimate affection and love. Kesavaha, Lord Krishna. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Sri Nārada Muni said, O Brahman, thus I was endowed with first the transcendental knowledge of the Lord as they are inculcated in the confidential part of the Vedas, then spiritual opulences, and then his intimate loving service by the Supreme Lord Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Communion with the Lord by transmission of the sound transcendental is non-different from the whole spirit Lord Sri Krishna. It is completely perfect method for approaching the Lord. By such pure contact with the Lord, without any offense of material conceptions, numbering 10, the devotee can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of the Vedic literatures inculcating the Lord's existence in the transcendental realm. Lord reveals his identity gradually to one who has unflinching devotional mode, both upon the spiritual master as well as the Lord. After this, the devotee is endowed with mystic opulences, which are 8 in number. And above all, the devotee is accepted as the confidential entourage of the Lord and is entrusted with specific service of the Lord through the agency of the spiritual master. A pure devotee is more interested in the matter of service of the Lord than showing an exhibition of the mystic powers dormant in him. Sri Nārada has explained all these from his personal experience, and one can obtain all the facilities which Sri Nārada obtained perfecting the chanting process of the symbolic sound representation of the Lord. There is no bar for chanting this transcendental sound by anyone, provided the same is received through the agency of Narada's representative coming down by the chain of disciplic succession or the parampara system. Om Ajnana Timiran. Okay, let's go to text 40. Go back to text 40. Tvamapyadabra shruta vishrutam vibho samapyate yena vidam bhubutsitam prakyahi dukke muhurarditanam sanklesha nirvanamushanti nanyata. Tvam, your good soul, api, also, adabra, vast, shruta, Vedic literature, vishrutam, have heard also, vibho, of the Almighty, samapyate, satisfied, vidam, of the learned, bubhutsitam, who are always after learning transcendental knowledge, prakyahi, described, dukkher, by miseries, muhur, always, arditam, suffering mass of people, sanklesha, sufferings, nirvanam, mitigation, ushanti, do not get out of, nanyata, by other means. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, because that will satisfy the anchorings of the great learned men and at the same time will mitigate the miseries of the common mass of people suffering from the material pangs always, and there is no other way to get out of them. Purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Sri Nārada Muni, from practical experience of his life, asserts it definitely that the prime solution of all problems of material work is to broadcast very widely the transcendental glories of the Supreme Lord. There are 4 classes of good men, and there are 4 classes of bad men also. The 4 classes of good men acknowledge the authority of the Almighty God, and therefore, such good men, when 1, they are in difficulty, 2, when they are in need of money, 3, when they are advanced in knowledge, and 4, when they're inquisitive to know more and more about God. Intuitively, they take shelter of the Lord, and as such, Nārada ji advises Vyāsadeva to broadcast the transcendental knowledge of God in terms of the vast Vedic knowledge which he had already attained. So far, the bad men are concerned, they are 4 in number. They are 1, those who are simply addicted to the mode of progressive fruitive work and thus are subjected to the accompanying miseries. 2, those who are simply addicted to vicious work for sense satisfaction and also suffering the consequence. 3, those who are materially very much advanced in knowledge but have no sense to acknowledge the authority of the Almighty Lord and thus suffering a lot. And 4, there's a class of men who are known as atheists and therefore purposely hate the very name of God, although they are always in difficulty. Sri Nārada ji advised Vyāsadeva to describe the glories of the Lord just to do good to all the above mentioned 8 classes of men, both good and bad. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is therefore not meant for any particular class of men or sect. It is for the sincere soul who wants actually his own welfare and peace of the mind. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 1st canto, 5th chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in the matter of Sri Nārada's instruction on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Vyāsadeva. Hare Krishna. Sorry. So we see here in this first purport, text number 39, Prabhupada is repeating a theme which he often discusses in his various books and teachings. Śrīla Prabhupada says, communion with the Lord by transmission of the sound transcendental is non-different from the whole Spirit Lord Sri Krishna. It is completely perfect method for approaching the Lord. By such pure contact with the Lord without any offense of material conceptions numbering 10, the devotee can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of the Vedic literatures, inculcating the Lord's existence in the transcendental realm. We see in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself in the beginning, the various rishis of Nimesharanya were inquiring from Shonaka Rishi that where are the principles of religion gone now that Lord Krishna has departed? Dharma-jnana dibi saha, puranarko adunoditaha. Now that Lord Krishna has gone, this Purana, this Bhagavat Purana, has arisen to give this sweet transcendental knowledge. Kalo nastadrishanesha puranarko adunoditaha. Now that the age of Kali Yuga had arisen after the departure of Lord Krishna, the real shelter, because it is described Svadama Upagati, that Krishna left to return to his own abode. So they were inquiring what happened. So the Shonaka Rishi is explaining to all the great rishis that the shelter to understand is the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, this powerful transcendental literature. Śrīla Prabhupada explains in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Krishna Das glorifies the importance of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Prabhupada quotes from the Garuda Purana, Artoyam Brahmasutranam Puranarko Adunoditaha, Gayatri Bhasharupo So Vedartha Paribrimhitaha. that the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the natural commentary of the Gayatri mantra. It is the actual explanation of the Vedanta Sutras, the Brahma Sutra. This is a very special literature. After all of the various Puranas, all the Mahabharata, everything had been compiled, Vyāsadeva was still not satisfied. This is what this entire chapter was all about. Vyāsadeva was explaining to Nārada that he felt unsatisfied, despite having compiled all the Vedic literatures. And Nārada told him, you have to point out the glorification, direct glorification of Lord Krishna, without so much attention to karma and jnana and all these other various distractions. That is why all the great acharyas recommend, all the great Vaishnava acharyas recommend to take shelter of the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the message of Lord Krishna. It is not that the Vedanta study is neglected. Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavatam itself, also in the Bhagavad Gita, that the Mayavadis, the Advaitavadis, claim that they have the monopoly on the study of Vedanta Sutra, but they do not know that the great Vaishnava acharyas, just as Ramanuja, Pillai Lokacharya, Vedanta Desika, Veera Ramanuja, Ranga Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, Vyasatirtha, Jayatirtha, and hundreds, thousands of great acharyas in all these Vaishnava sampradayas, including our own Vaishnava sampradaya, the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya sampradaya. We have Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Baladevi Bhushana, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our own Śrīla Prabhupāda. All these great acharyas have explained in detail the position of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the supremacy of Lord Krishna, Lord Narayana, and explained clearly the position of the living entities in the material world. We see here in text number 40 that Vyāsadeva is giving his prescription. Just like if you go see a doctor, if you have a problem, if you have an ailment or illness or disease, they will analyze the situation and give a prescription, a cure, a treatment plan. They're not just going to say, okay, thank you very much, go home. No, they're going to try to cure you. They're going to try to alleviate the suffering by prescribing either some medication or a treatment plan or some other medical procedure to alleviate the problem. So here, Vyāsadeva in text 40 is telling, please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Veda. Now, this is very important because we see here, because that will satisfy the hankerings of the great learned man, and at the same time will mitigate the miseries of the common mass of people suffering from the material pangs always, and there is no other way to get out of them. This is real welfare work. This is real beneficial, charitable work. We do know that many times Śrīla Prabhupāda was asked, well, why don't you do some social work? Why don't you open schools? Why don't you open hospitals? Why don't you open dispensaries? Why don't you do some charitable work? And Prabhupada every time would say, preaching Bhagavad Gita is the highest charitable work because it will solve all the problems. All the problems. The problem is having this material body. Having this material body means to be subjected to the threefold miseries of material existence. Adhyatmika klesha, miseries due to one's own body. Adhibhautika klesha, miseries due to other living entities. Adhidaivika klesha, miseries due to other powerful living beings in the higher parts of the universe, demigods. Just like here in California, they have earthquakes frequently. Actually, you can go online. The United States Geological Service, USGS, has a website. You can actually track them as they happen. Of course, in this particular western section of the Sierra Nevada, there's not too many earthquakes here. But if you look online, the eastern part, the Owens Valley, it's earthquake central. Similarly, there's a big fault from San Francisco to Los Angeles, the San Andreas Fault. So many earthquakes. Can anybody do anything about that? Can anybody stop the earthquake? Mother Rochi says, smiling, she lives in Montreal, Canada. You can ask her. In the winter, it gets a lot colder than here. In Montreal and further north, it gets pretty cold. Can she stop it? Can anybody stop it and turn it into tropical weather? No. It's like recently there was a big, they call it an atmospheric river. If you look at the map of California on the West Coast, it goes from northwest to northeast. And many times in the past, the weather would come from Vancouver Island, Washington State, Oregon State, and then would slice through California, the northern part of California. But sometimes there's a different weather pattern. They call it an atmospheric river, where it comes directly west going east, and it's very powerful. It's like a current, a very strong current. It hits San Francisco, it hits the Central Valley, and it hits the mountains very violently. The rain will be like biblical floods. And if it's really cold, you're going to get some serious snow. Can anybody stop that and say, I don't like this weather pattern? Because there are living beings who are more powerful than us. Indra, the king of heaven, who is in charge of the thunderbolt, the rains, Vayu, the demigod in charge of the wind, and so many other demigods who manage the universal affairs. Can anybody stop the rain like this? Can anybody stop the severe cold or the severe heat in the summer in Central California? It's like very, very hot. Last summer, we had to take a trip to Southern California to meet the devotee. On the way back, the weather was 113 degrees Fahrenheit near Bakersfield. Can I stop that weather? Can any one of you say, oh, we don't like that weather. Let's bring it back to 65 or 70 degrees, very nice and mild. No, you can't. Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita is explaining, Dukkalayam asasvatam. My dear Arjuna, this material world has two major features. Asasvatam is temporary, and Dukkalayam, it is full of misery. Can anybody change it? Not by material means, not by charitable work, not by hospitals, not by giving food to the needy. The only process is this process. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. The process recommended by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. That is the highest charitable work. Prabhupada, many times, would speak with various government officials, social workers, various people who would bring to his attention repeatedly to try to engage his disciples and his followers in welfare work, charitable work, social work. And every time Prabhupada would say the highest social work is to the living, give the living entity the shelter of Krishna's teachings, the shelter of Krishna's name. One of our great acharyas, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, has written in one of his songs in which he glorifies Lord Nityananda's preaching method. Because we know that at one point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Lord Nityananda, you do not need to come see me every year. Stay in Bengal and preach in Bengal. And there was associates of Lord Nityananda called the Dwadasa Gopalas, 12 powerful Nitya Siddhas who accompanied Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda started his Sankirtan movement in Godrum across the river from Mayapur. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur has written a very nice song in which he explains the preaching method of Lord Nityananda. He explains, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha, Aparad Shunyaha Ilaha Krishna Nam. That chant the name of Krishna, worship Lord Krishna, follow Krishna's instruction, and avoid offenses. This is the method that all the great acharyas have given. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Śrīla Prabhupāda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. In that same song, Bhaktivedanta Thakur explained that this Krishna Nama, Sarva Dharma Sar, this is the essence of all dharma, of all religion, of all spiritual instruction. Give the name of Krishna. Now somebody may say, well, we chant the name of Jesus or the name of Jehovah or the name of Adonai, or the Muslim chant the name of Allah. They say Allahu Akbar, that God is great. That is nice. Prabhupada said, chant whatever name you have. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has explained in his Shikshastakam, Nam Namakari Bhavudha Nija Sarva Shaktis, that all of his potencies are there in his transcendental names. But the problem is, in this material world, we have no attraction for them. We are so conditioned, we are so unfortunate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expressing that. Nam Namakari Bhavudha Nija Sarva Shaktis, Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha. That there's no fast rules to chanting these names. Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi, Durdeva Midrichi, Ihajani Na Anuragaha. He concludes at the end, I'm so unfortunate that although these names are so beautiful, so powerful, that you invested all of your potencies, Nija Sarva Shaktihi, I have no attraction, Na Anuragaha. So this entire process of bhakti is to develop an attraction for Krishna by first chanting. We have heard Śrīla Prabhupada many times quoting from the Padma Purana, Atasya Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Grayam Indriyai, that one cannot understand Krishna, appreciate Krishna, or see Krishna by these blunt material senses. These material senses are contaminated, conditioned by the mode of passion and ignorance. Well, how do we approach Krishna? How do we associate with Krishna? How do we find out who is Krishna? It says Nama Adi, that means the name of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna, the form of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the associates of Krishna, the incarnations of Krishna. How do we find out? It is explained. Sivan Mukehi Jivado. It begins, the process begins with the tongue. Jivha, not Jiva. G-I-H-V-A, meaning the tongue. The two basic functions, to taste and to vibrate, only to accept foodstuffs that have been offered to Lord Krishna in devotion, and to vibrate the name of Krishna. Here, Śrīmad-Bhāgavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Oh, Rupesh Prabhu has put a very nice chat here. Very nice. He is explaining the actual translation of that song. Thank you very much, Rupesh Prabhu in Bombay, or Mumbai. In the land of Nadia, on the island of Godruma, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy name, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. O people of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg these three requests of your chant. Krishna, worship Krishna, and teach others about Krishna. Being careful to remain free of offenses, just take the holy name of Lord Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is the treasure of your life. Giving up all sinful activities, carry on your worldly duties only in relation to Lord Krishna. the showing of compassion to other souls by loudly chanting the holy name of Krishna is the essence of all forms of religion. So this kindness that Prabhupada has given, that he has come, again, this is called Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan by Bhaktivedanta Thakur from the book Gita Bali. So Śrīla Prabhupada has been very kind and merciful to the fallen souls of Kali Yuga by traveling all around the world 12, 13 times, sacrificing his health, sacrificing his time, translating his books at night. While everybody was soundly sleeping, he was translating Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and giving this knowledge, giving everybody the chance to chant the name of Krishna, to get connected with Krishna. That is the greatest charitable, the greatest social work, the greatest beneficial activity for mankind. And if anybody tells any devotee, don't chant in the streets, don't go contribute, simply concentrate on going to get money, don't listen to them. They're in Maya. They're simply nonsense. This movement was started by chanting Hare Krishna in the parks, outside, so everybody would get the benefit. Do not become confused by people who are too addicted to money making in the dress of Vaishnavas. Do not become bewildered by such persons. The deep state sometimes takes many forms. Many forms. Many persons will come out very sweetly, very nicely, pretending to follow Prabhupada, pretending to follow Bhagavad Gita, pretending to preach Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, but their real colors cannot be concealed. That's why I keep referring to the Rupi Anuga Apasampradaya. There's the Rupa Anuga Sampradaya of the bona fide followers of Rupa Goswami. Śrīla Prabhupada was the most perfect representative of that bona fide sampradaya. Then there are many others called the Rupi Anuga. Rupee refers to the currency of the state of India, Bharat. Money. A Vaishnava is not meant simply to be obsessed simply with making money. There is an interesting story in this connection where a sannyasi went to Śrīla Prabhupada and asked Śrīla Prabhupada, if we're going to preach Krishna consciousness all over the world, it's going to require a lot of money for everything we're trying to do, to build temples, to print books and schools and Varanashram, everything. Prabhupada says, do not worry about the money. He says, you just follow strictly these 4 regular temples and chant Hare Krishna, and money will fall at your feet. Money will come. Krishna owns all the money. One should not sacrifice the basic fundamental principles of Krishna consciousness simply for the pursuit of money. One should not become a nonsense or a sahaji or a neo-mayavadi simply for the pursuit of money. To be continued, and to whom it may respectfully concern. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yaśodā-nandana, for your association and your brilliant explanation of these sections of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The thoughts of my devotees dwell on me, and the devotees experience great happiness and bliss by association with other devotees. This is the principle of association, which is very valuable for all of us to have this opportunity, because think about it, if Prabhupada had not come from India, Krishna Katha, and not brought the Bhagavatams, the original Delhi Bhagavatams, with him in those trunks on the Jaladuta, think about it. if Prabhupada did not undergo all of the austerities and difficulties that he went through living in New York from 1965 onwards, and for the first few years, if he hadn't overcome his health difficulties, multiple heart attacks, his constant effort to publish the books that he did for us, where would we be? If it did not exist, where would you be right now? Zero. Zero. You'd have to go to some Christian church. I had a conversation with a friend, so-called friend of mine of long standing yesterday, and he told me, oh, Jesus is the only way. I said, well, that's what you think. That's what some of you think, but billions of other people do not see it that way. And you live in a sectarian closet of confusion. Actually, Christianity really is the kindergarten of spiritual life. It's kindergarten. For very little information about spiritual life, there are rules and regulations of morality. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet a neighbor's wife. Like that, there are all different types of rules that they have to try to elevate people to some level of the mode of goodness. It even says, thou shalt not kill, but do they follow that? They kill everything every day. These Christian people are in kindergarten, if you even can say that, because their whole existence, especially in the West here, is alcohol, illicit sex, and meat eating. So, association of devotees is critical for making advancement in spiritual life. And that's why when we all joined the movement back in the 70s, we sought the association of devotees because in that association we felt some happiness, because there was a constant discussion about Krishna conscious activities, devotional service, and the glories of our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. That's what we wanted when we joined this movement, because this society that we were born in was spiritually bankrupt. What does bankruptcy mean? No money. And people that do not have transcendental knowledge, they're spiritually more or less bankrupt. And we can know that because of the opportunity that we have to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, especially in these classes that we put on. And we have over 1,000 hours of classes, yet people criticize us. They fault find us. They blaspheme us. And what are we trying to do? Give a good association to sincere people that want to get out of the material world by the grace of our divine spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Instead of celebrating it, they criticize it because of their own internal defects. They project it onto others. They can't see it. Association with devotees is the greatest gift. And Prabhupada, with Prabhupada in the center as the focal point, There's only one thing missing, one scarcity that's missing in the modern world. Prabhupada told us it is Krishna consciousness. Everything is there. Especially in the Western world, we have everything. So you can go to the department store, you can go to the grocery store, you can go to all these events. You've got all this useless activity, but it is does not have any value for the spirit soul, the bird in the bird cage. The bird in the bird cage. That Prabhupada gives an example like that in the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. They spend all the time decorating the bird cage and they forget about the bird. That's what this society is, Prabhus. It is an empty, useless world that we live in. And there is no value here except Krishna consciousness. Because, Pirangelo, birth and death are the reality, not anything else. For one who is born, death is certain. And for one who has died, birth is certain. And without Krishna consciousness, you're like the bird in the bird cage. You're decorating the externals, but really, you are going to die. And if you are in the laws of karma, you're going to be subjected to so many troubles in millions of births moving forward. Millions. People minimize that. The Christians, I can eat meat. How many? Let me ask you the question, everyone. How many births do you have to take when you eat the mother cow? Millions and millions of births for that. And someone saying, oh, but I'm a good Christian, kindergarten Christian. That's what you are. I was raised as a Roman Catholic. 12 years of somewhat indoctrination. I know. And there is no greater opportunity than the opportunity that we have to associate with Śrīla Prabhupada in his transcendental books. And Prabhupada stressed that today. He did. That the sound vibration of Krishna and his representative are non-different than the transcendental world of Krishna consciousness. Devotee sees through their ears, not through their eyes. We are students of sound, transcendental sound. It's absolutely revolting for the devotee to have to be surrounded by an ocean of material sound. It's horrible. The media, if you see the media, CNN and all the different avenues to get that association, it wears on you. It just completely destroys your perspective on life if you are absorbed in it. It's horrible. The music situation. Actually, being a professional musician for many years, I used to like music. And nowadays, I can barely stand listening to any of it. It's all garbage, the jazz that I used to love. You see Miles Davis playing. Oh, yeah, all I can think of when I see it, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, is Purusham Nishu, that Krishna is telling us, I am the ability in man. If you understand this greatness, it's coming from me. Not you're listening to the false ego of some woman, Taylor Swift, speaking about her heartbreaks in relationships because she doesn't know how to conduct herself properly because she was never trained how to be a human being. This is a society of dogs and cats. That's what it is. You go outside, what do you see on the streets? The first thing you see is someone walking a dog and picking up the stool. It's madness. And if anybody thinks that there's happiness in this world, Sage Prabhupada says to Maharaj Nimi in the Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada quotes him, "Know it for certain, there is no happiness in this world." And it is important to note, we have to have a pessimistic view of this material world. Otherwise, what is our motivation for getting out? There is none. We think I can live on. You know, a lot of people I meet, I've met a few of them, quite a few. They think they're going to live for 400 or 500 years. Oh, I'm going to live, I'm not going to die at all. I'm going to live on. I hear it all the time. It's just, and you've tried to correct them, and what do they say to you? Oh no, it's because of your attitude, you're wrong. For one who is born, death is certain. That's the rule. And people die not based on longevity. They die in car accidents. They die from disease, from cancer. They die from war. Look at the wars that are going on. All these young people being killed in Ukraine. And this hypocrisy of these wars is absolutely a tragedy in the human race. But this is the collective karma of this planet. This Kali Yuga nightmare. We have the mercy of Śrīla Prabhupāda, and I want to thank Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu for the class today, because it gives me hope when I hear this. It gives me hope, because I'm here to take care of myself. Yes, first you have to fix yourself up before you can fix anybody else up. And that is our business. And then go out and preach to others what is the highest welfare work, which is to save one from repeated birth and death. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could continue.
Very important points. How many times did Śrīla Prabhupada explain the verse, Dehinosmin yata dehe, chapter 2, text 13, in the Bhagavad Gita, that you're not this body? From beginning in 1965 till the 14th of November, 1977, Śrīla Prabhupada was constantly repeating this point. You know, as a matter of fact, some disciples asked Śrīla Prabhupada, why do you keep repeating the same themes all the time? And Prabhupada's reply is, because you do not understand. I personally had the good fortune to be in Śrīla Prabhupada's room in Calcutta in 1971, when Śrīla Prabhupada was discussing various Western philosophers in the Vedic perspective, the Krishna conscious perspective. And several times Prabhupada would say, just try to understand. Same thing in Vrindavan. Prabhupada would receive different dignitaries, politicians, because Vrindavan is near Mathura, not very far from Delhi, and you would get different government officials, governors, and all different kinds of people who would come, and basically they would want to talk to Prabhupada. They wanted to discuss with Prabhupada to find out what was his plan to alleviate the suffering in human society. And Prabhupada kept saying the same thing again and again. There's one conversation that was very interesting. Prabhupada is telling them, the reason you're suffering is because you have a body. You can, once you have a material body, as soon as you're born, you cannot avoid suffering. Have you ever seen a baby come out of the womb smiling and dancing? No, they're crying. They've been in there for 9, 10 months, and the woman's mother, they're suffering, they're compact, they come out, and then they forget. Maya comes in, the illusion comes in. They start to, I'm this body, and everything belongs to me, my family, my country, my this, my that. The effect of the material world. And Prabhupada pointed out, the reason there is suffering is because you have this body. If you follow Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, next birth, you can be relieved from all this suffering. Unfortunately, the modern propaganda, they think that this is some kind of voidism or impersonalism. No, there can be a blissful life, even in this life. One can enjoy transcendental bliss even in this body. Simply the consciousness has to be changed. One has to learn to hear from proper sources and proper authority. In the Vedanta Sutra, after discussing the position of the living entity, the destination of the living entity, what happens to the living entity after death, it finishes, it says, anavritihi shabdat. By sound vibration, one becomes liberated. By sound vibration, one can become conditioned, and by sound vibration, one can become liberated. That is the power of the Maha Mantra. But in Kali Yuga, it is especially difficult. But if one hears from authorities, like Prabhupada says at the end of text number 39, there is no bar for chanting this transcendental sound by anyone, provided the same is received through the agency of Narada's representative, coming down by the chain of disciplined succession or the parampara system. And that is the greatest benefit that Prabhupada has given. All of his lectures, all of his conversations, his books, this is the transcendental sound given by the pure devotee. Everyone should try to take advantage of it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, and the fact of the matter is that Prabhupada did request us to read at least 1 hour a day his books. And in this way, this is a yoga process of connecting, linking with God through transcendental sound. And it's very interesting to note that in the ISKCON group, and I'm going to read a chat notice here from Kantadas, but it's very interesting to note that in the ISKCON group, they stress Vapu over Vani. They do. And this is actually a great sin, a great offense against Śrīla Prabhupāda. And I saw recently one of Bhakti Vikash's disciples going out and selling his books and Prabhupada's change books. This is just absolutely offensive at the highest level. And that this movement that they run is gaslighting people, it's misinforming people, these leaders, misrepresenting our philosophy, and nobody says anything for fear of being kicked out or losing your salary. I had a conversation yesterday with a devotee, I can't remember his name, and he was making comments about the Ritvik process, that it's not bona fide. So I asked him a few questions. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, I asked him, are you a member of the Gaudiya Math? Are you a member of ISKCON? And you know what his answer was? Are you ready for this, everybody? I'm actually a temple president in ISKCON. But in the temple I run, they don't check me because I am committed to Śrīla Prabhupāda. He lives a total contradiction. No, I didn't say anything anymore. I just listened to what he had to say, because let's face it, social media is a trap for a lot of people. Here, Kantadas, brainwashing strategy is to tell you Krishna arranged for you to join ISKCON. and you are very special, then you become bewildered, and then you will push your hand in your pocket and give them big money, and you will continue until every cent gone, and then they dump you. So this is our Prabhu. There's millions and millions of complaints about the ISKCON Guru system. And we're going to go to Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. And I was speaking to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu yesterday about India, and I said, it's interesting to note, Dharma Bhavana, that Prabhupada left India. Why did he leave India? Because nobody was interested. That's why. And his godbrothers had destroyed the Gaudiya Math. Let's not be bewildered by bodily identification with anybody. Prabhupada loved his Western disciples first and foremost. I know. I was in the room. I heard him say it. He was very cautious around Indian people, even though he was born in India, because of the way they treated him in India. Remember that. Dharma Bhavana, maybe you could share some information. Rupesh, unmute Dharma Bhavana, please. Unmute him. Sorry, we have a muting system.
Okay.
That our
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
co-host is operating for us. Thank you, everyone. Go ahead, Dharma Bhavana.
Just reflecting on the class today by Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, it's kind of beautiful the way it was presented, how the parampara is there, and if we follow without committing the 10 offenses, then we can make gradual advancement in this process. And I was just putting myself in the situation of a new person who receives a book or somehow comes to some society of Hare Krishna devotees. How are they going to decide what society is more proper? There's so many different kind of groups and organizations. It's kind of a confusing, like in Vrindavan, there's about 100 different, very confusing. So I appreciate this Prabhupada Disciples Association to help us learn the way, Prabhupada presented. And I was thinking how, even though the atmosphere is just like when Lord Ram was here, it was very difficult to imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead being sent out to the forest. And at the same time, it was hard to imagine 5,000 years ago, Krishna's army and his whole family fighting with each other. It's hard to imagine that. But it seemed like the Supreme Lord, he arranges these things, very dramatic in such a way that nobody can understand it, but it's his transcendental pastime, his arrangement. And now it just seems like Prabhupada's departure pastime is going to help more glorify Śrīla Prabhupada's his activities, his qualities. And we're just now in the kind of the middle or the beginning of that time where this departure pastime will be more and more realized around the world, and all Prabhupada's qualities of tolerance and mercy and many, many other qualities will manifest. So these are just some of the things I was thinking about. I didn't have any other particular thing to say, but this kind of was on my mind. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I appreciate that, by the way. That's a very profound statement that this particular pastime is going to continue to expand Prabhupada's greatness in the future. So this is called optimistic. We're very optimistic because we're Prabhupada's disciples, Prabhupada's members of this association. And I wanted to call upon Krishna Kishore. I see his emblem is at our program with the Sikh here in Mexico. I was wondering if he could share some comments at our panel discussion this morning. Krishna Kishore in Mexico from the Sri Chaitanya Sampradaya group. Prabhu, can you unmute him? Rupesh, could you unmute? Let me see if I can do it. There. Unmute. Okay. Doesn't appear that he's able to come to the microphone for us. Ron Singh in Nepal, India. Maybe you could share a few comments.
Jai, thank you, Prabhu, for this wonderful class. Like always, congratulations to, I saw the wonderful video that was done by Krishna Kishore. The chanting was very beautiful, and Vishwakarma Prabhu explaining how the system will continue in the future, and it's continuing. And regarding Śrīla Prabhupada's unmanifest pastimes, the Acharya lives in sound. You know, the sound that is coming, that is the most important thing. And many times, devotees don't appreciate the in-person appearance of the Acharya, or they take him very cheaply. And it doesn't work out for them. So if you look at the history of the Krishna Consciousness movement, started by Śrīla Prabhupada, we see there's a lot of discrepancies that is there. And for a new person to come and understand all these things is very difficult, because first of all, the association part is missing, and then the books have been changed. So it's very, very rare for individuals who are trying to understand what actually happened in history, why the books changed. But all this is answered in this group. All the questions they have can be answered here. So I would recommend, if anyone has any questions, utilize this opportunity to ask the questions or contact Vishwakarma directly. He's there to help you. And we're here also to help you in any way we can. So thank you very much to the hosts who have been hosting the programs, and our guides, Vishwakarma and Yaśodā-nandana, and all the other devotees who've been participating over the past 2+ years. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I wanted to, well, we're going to wind up the program. We're already at 10:30 here in Mexico. But I wanted to mention again that we are moving ahead with publication, and we'll give further information in due course very soon. And the Delhi Bhagavatams will be in our hands in due course. And it's a great victory for all of us as a group, especially those who contributed for the publication of these books out of the generosity and the realization that giving money to publishing books is Prabhupada's method for spreading Krishna consciousness, and it'll please him very much. So we want to thank everybody that participated in this, and we want to thank Krishna Kata for his work in creating the PDF files, and also Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and him for working with our printers to finalize the details. And onwards and upwards we go, everyone, in our mission to spread the Sankirtan movement and the promotion of transcendental literatures to people worldwide. Now I'm going to call upon Yaśodā-nandana to give his concluding words, and then we'll move forward with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra led by His Divine Grace Śrīla Prabhupāda. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu.
I had an interesting experience yesterday. I put the words transcendental sound or transcendental sound vibration into one of these search engines, and there's a lot of wonderful comments by Śrīla Prabhupada about this process of hearing, this process of submissive oral reception. And it's very important for devotees to understand this, because I think one of the very important comments that was made today is this, that some organizations revolve back to the bodily conception of life called Vapuvad. And the real transcendental movement of Śrīla Prabhupada is based on Vanivad, the hearing of the transcendental message. This is very important, because then what people do with their physical Vad, they're trying to put more emphasis on their own physicality and twisting the philosophy, distorting the philosophy, misinterpreting the original philosophy to fit into that bodily conception of life. Now, this is very important, because there's a lot of references from Śrīla Prabhupada about the importance of hearing. Just like we keep discussing on this program, how in the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Śrīla Prabhupada says that one should recognize a sadhu by hearing, not by seeing. And so many times, whenever people ask Śrīla Prabhupada, can you show me God? And Prabhupada says, do you have the eyes to see God? You can develop the eyes to see God by hearing. In another conversation, Prabhupada said, you can't taste God, you can't see God, you can't associate with God, but you can hear God. How? By hearing from God's pure representative, authorized Acharya. My good friend Ron Singh, we've had a lot of discussion on Prabhupada's statement, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, that one should accept the authority of the Acharya, and one who has accepted the bona fide Acharya, it's understood that he will know everything. Now, the reason why there is so much disturbance in the movement is because the people have not focused on hearing from the Acharya. They have distorted, changed the books of the Acharya, claiming that they've improved the book. And they have forbidden many people from hearing his original books. In some temples, they won't even allow the original books to be read and to be distributed. That's how crazy things have become. It's like we keep saying this example. I was in South India for several years with Guru Kripa, the Chutananda Mahamsa Swamis, and we've met many of these people, especially from the Madhva and the Ramanuja Sampradaya, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, and none of them, because we have had discussion with men, and none of them have ever said that somebody has changed the writings of Ramanuja or Madhva or Jayatirtha, Vyasatirtha. It's inconceivable to these people that somebody would change the writing of the Acharya. But yet in our movement, they think that because it's in English, they think they can improve. No, that cannot be done, should not be done. One should submissively hear from the Acharya. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. I believe our good friend Nilesh Prabhu is there at Vichakarma. You may want to let him speak for a minute or two. He'll spark things up.
Do you have a question, Nilesh, for Yaśoda? We're out of time, but do you have a question?
Yes, Hare
please?
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, I joined in late, but you mentioned about Prabhupada mentioning Dein Asmin Tatha Dehe Kaumaram Yovanam Jara Tatha Dehantar Prapti Dhira Tatra Namuyati. Prabhupada has repeatedly told us you are not this body. Then how does this marry into Vapuvad, where people are recommending physicality when their very essence, the first step which Krishna talks to us in the Bhagavad Gita is that you are not this body. So how does these two marry in together? Can you please comment on that?
They don't. If somebody has clearly understood they're not the body, they're not going to emphasize their physicality. They're going to emphasize that dhira, the actual dhira, iti sushrama dhiranam. In the Isha Upanishad, there is description in one Sanskrit line, iti sushrama dhiranam. One should hear from the undisturbed Acharya. If one has factually heard and understood the message of the Acharya, how can he be so eager to emphasize his own physicality? That means he has not understood the message. He has not comprehended the first instruction. The whole idea of coming to hear Bhagavad Gita is to understand the message according to Krishna and the bona fide Acharya who have explained the real meaning of Krishna's words. Same thing for Bhagavatam. We don't hear just the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam according to the commentaries of the great Vaishnava Acharyas. Then we can understand the message of Bhagavatam. Otherwise, it remains a mystery. Otherwise, it's impossible to understand. And if we listen to the message of the Bhagavatam, just like I keep explaining, no one can understand Prabhupada's commentary on Bhagavatam unless they first understand the first dedication. He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. That is the first message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Prabhupada is given. Whether or not the Vapuvadis have understood that, that is a remaining question to be answered. Why did Prabhupada say in 1969 on the 13th of January, what we have heard from the spiritual master, that is living? Why do Vapuvadis never want to discuss this? Why Prabhupada said it is not that he is dead and gone? That is not spiritual understanding. Why is it that this is never discussed with the Vapuvadis? Because the Bhaktivedanta Thakur in his writings, and Prabhupada also always, this is the disease, is this remaining desire for honor and name and fame and power and position and profit, adoration, distinction, that lingering pratishta. This is why, because people are engaged in some so-called spiritual life while this anchor of pratishta is there. Therefore, they cannot understand the difference, the importance of always emphasizing the Vani of the Acharya. That is simple. It's as simple as that. I hope it helps. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Do you have another point?
Yes, you have no question. Let's extend this. Go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. You know, it is very interesting because I was just listening to reading Vijay Pandit Dasa's one of the excerpts he put in of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, what he talks in Bhakti Tattva Viveka. He talks about in the depths of Jnana, Vairagya, and so on, and behind all religion lies the desire for honor, name, fame, distinction, and adoration. To the degree that we endeavor and to develop ourselves spiritually, to become religious, to maintain a renounced life, and to deliberate on and discuss jnana, we desire our own pratishtha, honor and distinction. This desire contaminates our hearts and pollutes our characters. You know, I've heard even on this forum, many people talk about, oh, I made such and such devotee, I made that and that devotee. No, you did not make that devotee. You are a nimitta. You are a conduit. If you can make devotees like that, that means you should have 100% success rate that whoever you talk to should become a devotee. But no, you don't understand that Krishna says in 15:15 also is that smaranam and apohanam cha, remembrance and forgetfulness is because of me. So we can be the conduit. Just like how Vishwakarma Prabhu says that Prabhupada claimed all his disciples to be the servants of his spiritual master. That he said that my spiritual master has sent you guys to me to help me in broadcasting the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He never considered his own disciples as his own servants also. Because a true Acharya will take everything what he gets, all the accolades which he gets, and offers it to his spiritual master, which eventually goes to Krishna. So that is the true sign of an Acharya. And when we talk about transcendental, we are talking about beyond time, space, and matter. So where does the body come in? So if you can expound on that too, Prabhuji.
Well, that's a very good point. That's a very important point. We see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye. That one of the things that he doesn't desire is large number of followers. There's a place in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Prabhupada says, a pure devotee has no desire for a son or disciples. The whole idea of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is to become pure devotees. That's what distinguished someone like Apakrita and Jayananda. They had no personal desire for followers or prestige or name, fame, power, position, and a long laundry list of deviation. They were focused, completely focused on just pure service. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling us. That is what Śrīla Prabhupāda is telling us. So it's like that quote that you mentioned about from the Tattva Viveka of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. This is very important because this explains why some people have the official religious facade, the religious veneer, to the official ritualistic dogma, but yet they fail to understand the essence of what this is all about. This is very important because if one doesn't understand the real purpose, one gets easily deviated. So we have to constantly remember that. That's a very important point. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you everyone for participation. We'll be back next Thursday for Chaitanya Charitamrita reading and discussion as we march forward in eternal time on the eternal pastimes of Śrīla Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna led by our spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And thank you, Michael Dillon, for your loyalty to this group of devotees, the Prabhupada Disciples Association, and our mission to protect our spiritual master's legacy. Hare Krishna. Rupesh, please, the kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everyone for participating in this lively program. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Yautepec, Mexico, Mother Rochita Devidasi in Montreal, Canada, Nilesh Prabhupada Prabhu in Florida, Ronald Singh in Nepal, Pierangelo in Switzerland, Rupesh Prabhu with his wonderful management in Bombay, India, and our good friend Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California, Triloka Vijay in Florida, Kantadas in Trinidad, or wherever he is. He's often traveling and preaching. Very nice. So thanks everybody for participating. We look forward to seeing all of you on Thursday evening at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8:00 Eastern Time, Hamilton, Ontario time, and Florida time. Thanks everybody, and all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.